Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. We're going to provide you some information that we feel is really important for the people in the state of Rhode Island to be fully aware of, and we have members of our cabinet here tonight to answer some questions and provide information, important information. So we've been informed by Deloitte that the system it manages, Rhode Island Bridges, has had a major security threat. Rhode Island Bridges is the system the state of Rhode Island uses to determine eligibility for programs and benefits like SNAP, Medicaid, and cash assistance. The system is also used to access affordable health coverage options offered through HealthSource Rhode Island. Unfortunately, a cybercriminal has accessed data maintained by Deloitte. Data that may include customer personal information, such as names, addresses, dates of birth, and social security numbers, or other personal information. As soon as we learned that a security threat was an unconfirmed possibility, Deloitte and our state IT experts took immediate steps to address the situation. An investigation into the exact cause of the event and what data they may have obtained is ongoing. As part of this investigation, today we discovered that within the Rhode Island Bridges system, a cyber criminal had installed dangerous malware that means customers will temporarily not be able to access any customer portal related to the services on Rhode Island Bridges. I understand this is alarming. Please know that Deloitte and the state are working with law enforcement as well as IT experts to minimize the impact on Rhode Islanders. As you can see here tonight, I have mobilized members of my cabinet, and you will hear from several of them tonight. For all of us, the issue is a absolute top priority. So now, and then we'll answer questions after we make the presentations. Now, I would like to introduce our state's Chief Digital Officer, Chief Information Officer, Brian Tardif. Brian.
Thank you, Governor. Good evening. Since this is an ongoing investigation, I cannot share full technical details, but to summarize where we are, on December 5th, the state was informed by its vendor Deloitte that the RI Bridges system was the target of a potential cyber attack. According to Deloitte, the company received a message from a cyber criminal group that they were in possession of 1 terabyte of data and demanded a ransom in order to not release the data in their possession. Immediately, Deloitte began incident response activities within the RI Bridges environment in an attempt to identify the veracity of the claim and move directly into containment operations to include user password resets, scanning of the RI Bridges infrastructure for evidence of intrusion, and identification of any potential malware to include ransomware. The state technology team simultaneously began immediate analysis of the broader state technology to assess potential intrusion, to which no indicators of compromise were found. Also at that time, appropriate federal law enforcement and agencies were notified, including the Rhode Island State Police and FBI. Throughout the course of this timeline, the state purposely did not disclose details of this situation in order to prevent the threat from being executed. On December 10th, Deloitte said they received a screenshot from the cybercriminal group of a sample of the folders and files that were later verified by Deloitte to be from RI Bridges. Upon investigation of the folder and file structure, it was determined with high probability that the sample folders and files contained sensitive information. Throughout this timeline, Deloitte continued to use a suite of specialized tools to continue to scan the RI Bridges infrastructure environment for evidence of the intrusion in an attempt to identify the type of attack and our appropriate response actions that should be taken that would not further jeopardize the RI Bridges system or compromise the ongoing investigation. These scans resulted in the discovery of malicious files this afternoon that could potentially be launched to cause damage to the RI Bridges system by the cyber criminals. This caused us to immediately escalate the situation and direct the team to shut the RI Bridges system down in order to mitigate the possibility of catastrophic damage. The Deloitte team is now in the process of doing all that is necessary to safely restore the RI Bridges system so that we can have a high level of confidence there will be no disruption resulting from cyber criminal activity. I'd now like to introduce the Department of Human Services Director, Kim Brito, and Health Source RI Director, Lindsay Lang.
Thank you. Good evening. This has been our top priority and continues to be. There's a lot of information that folks are hearing today, and we want to make sure that all are aware of the impacted programs. The measures that are being talked about have been precautionary. We are securing the information in our system and ensuring that our customers in Rhode Island are able to continue to receive their benefits. We understand that this is an alarming situation to our customers and all those that work with folks in Rhode Island that receive our services. Currently, our customers will not be able to log into their accounts through the portal or through the mobile application while this system is offline. There will be updates that are going to be made available at www.admin.ri.gov/Rhode Island RI Bridges/alert. The programs that have been impacted, it's to the best of our knowledge, any individuals who have received, individuals or households that have received or applied for health and human service programs or benefits could be impacted by this leak. The programs and benefits managed through the Rhode Island Bridges system include Medicaid, our Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, Temporary Assistance to Needy Families, which is our TANF program, Child Care Assistance, also known as CCAP, our health coverage purchased through Health Source RI, Rhode Island Works, Long-Term Services and Supports, which is our LTSS program, and our General Public Assistance program. Rhode Islanders that are seeking to continue to apply for benefits will be able to do that through paper applications. We are still, we have our website that's at dhs.ri.gov that has information on the programs and ways to access our paper application. I'm going to hand it over to Director Lang.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lindsay Lang. I'm the Director at Health Source RI, Rhode Island's marketplace for affordable health coverage. I want to acknowledge that I know this feels very concerning, that this is happening at a very busy time in Rhode Islanders' lives and during Health Source RI's annual open enrollment period. The good news is that so far we know that Rhode Islanders are doing what they need to do during open enrollment to get and stay covered. They've been reaching out since the beginning of open enrollment, which is November 1st. They've been getting the help that they need and taking the actions that they need to take to get coverage starting in January of 2025. I also want to stress that open enrollment is through January 31st, so we know we have time, and we will be working very hard to give Rhode Islanders the help that they need to come through during open enrollment period and get the health coverage that they need for the new year. I do want to share that during open enrollment, we are usually open on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We will be closed tomorrow morning. I also want to talk about a dedicated call center that we will be opening to help assist Rhode Islanders who've had their personal information compromised. That contact center will open at 11 a.m. starting this Sunday, December 15th, and it will stay open until 8 p.m. Going forward, that contact center will be open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. We also want to remind Rhode Islanders that in light of this event, it's important to stay vigilant and monitor your accounts for any unauthorized or unusual activity. There are steps that you can take right now to put yourself in as good a position as possible. Those steps include taking steps to freeze your credit or place a fraud alert through any of the major credit bureaus. It's always best practice to change any common or reused passwords that you've been using to a very strong and unique password. And we also want to suggest that customers could call their bank and ask what steps you can take to place additional safeguards on your bank account. We will continue to provide updates on these steps as things evolve. And as Director Brito mentioned, you can go to the www.admin.ri.gov/RIBridges/alert website. You can also go to the HealthSource RI website or the DHS website, and there will be a banner message there to direct you to that website that I just mentioned. Getting back to HealthSource RI customers, for any customer who's concerned with making a payment for upcoming coverage, I want to offer a little bit of guidance. You can make a payment through any CVS location across the country in person. You can also visit the HealthSource RI Contact Center, which is located at 401 Wampanoag Trail in East Providence. You can drop that off in person during our business hours. We also have a drop box just inside the door, which is always open. I also want to encourage HealthSource RI customers to check back on our website for more information and for specific information regarding open enrollment and your coverage for January 1st, 2025.
Right, with that, we're going to start questions, and we'll go right here first to Amy.
Governor, can you confirm whether these systems were a part or attached to the previous UHIP system? Did that have anything to do with what we're seeing here today?
Yes.
Can you explain how?
Well, I only can go back from what I've told that a time frame between 2019 and today, it's a distinct possibility that that information could be breached.
Were there conversations back then that the state could move away or reevaluate its relationship with Deloitte? Are we seeing those conversations happening again?
At that time, yes, and I believe it was a 5-year contract that I made was a 3-year contract. We're going to take a look at where that stands right now, but at the moment, this is an ongoing investigation that you can see that our top priority right now is the individuals that be impacted on this, so thank you for being here. So we're going to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect the people in the state of Rhode Island. And then certainly the discussion is going to be how quickly can we get back up so to make sure that no benefits are impacted, and also making sure that the potential of individuals having their personal information used in a way that is not good for them, that we get ahead of it.
Last question. Do you know, is there a number on how many people are possibly affected in this? Are we in the hundreds, thousands?
Well, we don't know exact, but we do know that there's it's in the hundreds, thousands, right? We don't know exactly what that number is, but as soon as we have that, we can tell you.
Two questions, Governor. First of all, just kind of simplifying this right now, for somebody out there who maybe has applied for health insurance through HealthSource, or they receive any of the programs that were just laid out as possibly being impacted by this breach, give us your just anecdotal assessment of how concerned people should be. It's a Friday night news briefing. This seems extremely urgent. Is it fair to say that this should be people's top priority right now at this moment or tomorrow morning to secure their accounts, so on and so forth, that this should be something that is stressful for people?
Well, I think that it's this is happening in our lives every day, right? So this is not a just an event that is isolated here. So yes, I think the precautions that you should be using And if you feel as though that you have been in that loop, at least between those dates that I mentioned, the 2019 to 2000, today, and that you're involved in those programs, and we appreciate the fact that the media is here so that we can get the full information out as quickly as it can. Just like, I've had my information, breached sometimes. I made sure that I get the credit checks in place. If I felt as though I had, credit cards that should be, put on hold. These are all things that should happen, and the team behind me is going to make sure that we provide as much of that direction as we possibly can, as quickly as we can.
Categorize it as extremely urgent for anybody who is in any way involved with any of the programs that were just laid out. The first thing they should do before they do anything else right now is take a look at their accounts, change their passwords, credit card, so on and so forth. This is not something that should be taken lightly.
Yeah, and I think that, it's been mentioned that they should be paying attention to any information that they feel as though could potentially be compromised.
The state, in terms of health insurance, you've mentioned a couple of, we'll call them analog ways for people to make payments, right? CVS, so on and so forth. Is the state implementing tonight a way for people to receive payments in an analog manner? So those same locations where someone would pay the state, they may also be able to pick up a check for their benefits.
We do not issue checks for benefits, but what we did do, and also something that we tried to do in the December month with the holidays, is we proactively sent out for folks that are eligible in our system and active with us benefits for December. So we anticipate that what the benefits that individuals should have received, individuals or households, they received them for December already. So it isn't that we would direct someone to go to one of those entities that were mentioned to make a payment. We wouldn't be giving checks, but it would arrive in the fashion that it would normally arrive on the EBT cards, or in the fashion that it would arrive.
So you're confident that by the time the next distribution would be set to take place at whatever date that is, this system will be online, and there's no need to have a parallel analog system for people to make payments. You understand a lot of people may want to shut down their bank accounts
Yes.
as a result of this, and are going to be left unsure of how they're going to receive their payments. What's your advice to those people?
So we're working together as a team diligently to ensure that the safety and the confidentiality is secured. So in terms of confident for the next cycle, we anticipate January for the DHS programs that we would be up and running. Yes, that's what we are hoping for in terms of delivery of benefits in the traditional fashion. So access and paper applications and processing and prioritizing families that are in need, individuals that are in need. So we'll be able to do that. In terms of December benefits, we proactively issued those in advance.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I'm not sure who would answer them. You mentioned, Governor, that this is a ransomware attack. How much money are the hackers demanding, if you can talk to that?
So this is, again, this is an ongoing investigation, so I can't speak too much about what is happening. This is more of, this is not a ransomware attack where there has been malware executed within the environment. This is more of an extortion type activity by this cyber criminal group.
Gotcha. Okay. And you guys mentioned that folks might not be able to access their portals through the website or the app, but I just want to be clear. You're saying there's not going to be a delay or gap in any of the benefits that people would access through any of these programs that are impacted?
No, I would say that there's not going to be a delay. For new applicants that are coming in, they might experience a different service delivery than typical with the agency. We have not reverted to paper applications in the volume that we expect to see coming in for quite some time, but it is something that we will put in place if we need to. Yes.
I have one more question. Just looking at the timeline here, obviously you guys were aware that something was potentially wrong December 5th. I think it was December 11th. There was a high probability that hackers accessed personal identifiable data. Why not alert people at that moment that something was potentially wrong instead of telling people? I know timing could be an issue, but 7:30 on a Friday night, why not give people a heads up that there might be something wrong? Because people could have been putting their information into some of these websites in the days since that happened.
There are various types of cyber criminal type of attacks. As the investigation is ongoing, when it first began, we were unsure of exactly the veracity of the cyber criminals' claims, and we purposely did not take action to avoid potential triggering of further damage to the environment.
We'll go back to Mark.
Governor, kind of an overarching question here. This week we hit the 1-year anniversary of the shutdown of the Washington Bridge on the westbound side. I think there's been a lot of questions about state leadership from residents. What would you like to say to some residents that might be wondering, how could something like this now happen?
Well, I think that's the investigation again, in terms of what caused it. If we're working with Deloitte right now, I would also, I don't want to go backwards, but I want to go forwards. After a year, we're headed in the right direction on the bridge, and we have a shorter timeline to actually address this, right? And the Friday, and the question about the Friday and the late Friday, we were notified today that through Deloitte that around that 3:30 time frame that they were advising us to shut the system down, right? So we shut the system down. It takes a couple hours. I thank the media out there that was getting the heads up on this issue and holding off until that shutdown actually happened, because that's when we were probably as vulnerable as we were in this entire project. So what I would say is that we will continue to work on these issues that are going to come up in terms of operations as far as state government. This is not the first state that has had a breach like this, and we have enough certainly talent here to address this in a way that is, like I said, the two goals right now is making sure benefits are not interrupted, and that the private information is not used in a way that could hurt the people in the state of Rhode Island.
And just kind of piggyback off a question that's already been asked, but when were you specifically first made aware of this, and what was your reaction?
Yeah, so it was early in. It wasn't at December 5th, but it was right around that time frame that there could be a possibility, and it was being monitored on a regular basis. And really, again, this action was not made clear, and the advice from Deloitte did not come until very late this afternoon. And then for people who are saying, why wouldn't you do it immediately when you heard from Deloitte, it's not just like, we could shut these lights off with one switch. That's not what's happened here. It takes hours to make sure that we are securing the information in a way that, as we shut down the information.
Governor, under the scheme, if you will, of the Department of Administration, Department of Revenue oversees Division of Taxation, the lottery. I would imagine also their connections to Twin River and gaming revenue. Are any of those been implicated or involved?
I'll go to Brian on that one.
So the RI Bridges infrastructure is completely separate from the rest of the state network, and the state IT team has done its due diligence to identify and scan the state network for any indicators of compromise, and we have not seen any.
And just one quick follow-up. Is there anything to suggest that there's a connection between this and the cyber attack on the City of Providence Department of Education?
There's nothing to suggest that at this time.